by driller. Like my friends and them don't like me. They want police, whole jockey. For the things they want me sing about. This government go jail my snout. They want me to sing and say, move the lovers from the highway. And have the whole stench installed right inside the heart of Whitehall. But not me, afraid car, afraid car. Afraid he jail me like he jail Rex Lassalle. They want me sing about when fathers died. Kamal Muhammad break down and cry, but afraid, not me. They say a young minister was found in a hotel with a call girl in tongue. But I ain't singing about that. Afraid decision. Like my friends, they may consider what happened to Weeks and Granger is when they jail my backside, that they go be satisfied. But I smarter than all of them. The government I vote to offend. I rarely can make a jail. The cocoa and split peas will kill my tail. You see why? Afraid car, afraid car. I'm talking about the new Baron of Maraval. They say PNM was nearly wrecked by the secretary and his rubber check. But afraid, I don't know. They say by Salvatore building, I'll tell George Meeks how he mother made him. But I know nothing about that. Afraid decision. Like me friends, them don't understand why I really afraid that man. You see Bernard and Ernest here. When Carl talk, they have to hear. Government had no money, they say, for last year's public servants back there. No big thing, Carl got on the phone and ordered Kamal to give them a loan. That's why I'm afraid car, afraid car. Cause he eating like curry barbed wire and dal. In the trial, Bruce spoke up did so well that he leave the home and live in Hilton Hotel. But I'm afraid. They said Dan Juma, who tried us soldiers there, still owe Hilton $2,000 for beer. But I keeping out of that. Afraid decision. Like my friends, them want to retreat, but pushing me in the heat. They say them big boys was small, now they're walking 10 feet tall. Two used to live just like rats, now all over Belmont they're building flats. Another used to sell coconut, now he buy out the whole Queen Street lot. Don't ask me, afraid car, afraid car. The get a village dress designer from Marathon. They say Burroughs is an ex-crime fighter, but also a damn good weed pusher. But afraid. They say government passed the divorce bill so that Eric could get his own appeal. But I keeping out of that. Afraid decision. Bye bye bye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Oh, yes, the one and only, the one and only Dr. Hollis Liverpool, the chalk dust. Afraid Carl. Afraid Carl. That is still a classic. When I was a boy in the 70s. Oh Lord God. Afraid Carl. Carl Hudson Phillips. Carl Hudson Phillips, who was then the Attorney General during the February Revolution in 1970 and passed the sedition bill. and chalked us calling this sedition. Afraid the seditioners, so I'm not talking anything about the government. But my friend, they want to push me. They want me talk. Our minister was caught with a call girl in tongue, but I'm not singing that because of Afraid Car. They say Burroughs was Burroughs was the commissioner, the crime chief. They say Burroughs was an ace crime fighter, but a damn good weed pusher. But I'm not singing about that. Afraid Car. That is Kaiso. That is Kaiso. They say government passed a divorce bill so that Eric Williams, the prime minister, could get his own at will. But I'm not singing about that because Afraid Carl, real classic Kaiso. That's what Kaiso is about. You know, I love my brother Kaisonians in Guyana, but if only they can get to that level, you know. It is not that in Trinidad the government is not. When Pandey came to power, they tried to ban calypsos from off the air, and it was hell in Trinidad. So it's not that governments of these air wanted to get rid of they wanted to get rid of Mashumani, if you remember, when they came in to power, you know, and the Kaisonians stood up. Then we have to give our Kaisonians credit. Good evening to you all and welcome to Politics 101. We have former assistant commissioner here tonight, Paul Slowe. And of course, you know, once Paul Slowe is here, he's going to hot it up because one of the things they can't take is when people who know the system talking about the system. You see, if you don't know the system and you're yapping, they can always bore only, you don't know what you're talking about. The thing about somebody like Paul Slowe, he was in the system and he knows the system well. And so whenever the system is malfunctioning, he can point to exactly where the hole is. And one of the things I always like about Paul and why I like to interview him is that he just not coming out there to bash the police. Because he always say, I am a policeman. I'm a policeman. All right? I'm a police. That he's pro-police. Insofar as he is critiquing the police, is to point to the way in which the police has been politicized and try to get it better. So this is not somebody who's out to bash the police. That means that he brings to the conversation on the police credibility. This is not David Hines when know nothing but police, chatting about police. No. This is somebody who loves the police force, loves the police work, serve it with distinction. Had it not been for politics, would have risen to the top. Who's talking to the police and we're going to talk? We come on air tonight and we are hearing things. You know the big drug bust at Matthews Ridge. The big drug bust at Matthews Ridge. We are now hearing that a policeman was involved, is involved. And the commissioner of police apparently was questioned today, and he said he just saw it on social media. And he is going to, if what he saw on social media is true, there's going to be an investigation. You remember when they asked you about the Brutus story? Oh, no check was ever deposited. And then next thing you know, the check was indeed deposited. So when we hear our assistant commissioner talking, we can't take nothing that he say. Or people say, you must take it with a pinch of salt. You can't even take it with a pinch of salt. Because his word has no credibility. Not because I say so or Paul Slowe says so. It's that he has proven over time that he has no credibility. I don't very easily, dash people away. I have known the assistant commissioner of police. Whenever we have met, he has been cordial to me. I've been cordial to him. So it's not somebody that I dislike. But you can't over and over, when these things happen, say you don't know, when in fact you must know, which means you're fooling people. And when you fool people who cannot be fooled, you really end up fooling yourself. We learned this week in the news that the Ministry of Home Affairs knew about Mr. Brutus's wife, who was selling services. Apparently, she has a company that was doing business with the police force. Apparently, the department that her husband was in charge of, she was doing business, talking about incest, talking about conflict of interest. And we are now learning that these things had to go through the ministry. So the ministry, obviously, it had to go through the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs, permanent secretary. Did we hear some time ago about the permanent secretary who was doing things and the Americans stopped? I wonder if the same permanent secretary. So we see this thing. This police story is dirty. I always like to make my disclaimer. Police don't bother me in Guyana. So I am not anti-police in that sense. A lot of those young boys and girls in the police force, I think, are good little boys and good little girls. And of course, they go in the police force and, they get hauled into the corruption thing and so on. I pity them. But I am not anti-police. I think the vast majority of policemen and women, if the environment were different, they would operate differently. I may have told the story here, one night it was after 12 and I was going home and I stopped at one of those Spanish places to get a hamburger. And it was after 12 minutes to 1. And a police vehicle pulled up and a couple of policemen come out, they come to buy a hamburger too. And then, they said, Dr. Hines, you're on the road late. You're not supposed to be out that late. I said, well, it's Saturday night. I'm taking a little late night. And they tell me, wait. And they bought their hamburger. And they drove behind me until I got home. And they said, well, you're safely home now. We are all right. I tell that story to say that policemen and women don't really nearly go around the place harassing political people and so on, that's not my experience. That is not my experience. So I am not anti-police. But I have a problem with the hierarchy of the police force. Because I think that's where the bad names start, at the hierarchy of the police force and the way in which it has allowed itself to become politicized. And so therefore, when you are in that state, it means that you can't carry out the kind of management that the police force needs. Good evening to you. Please share the link. Please share the live. Mr. Paul Slowe is here tonight, and we're going to talk. We want to talk, if you would have noticed in the news in the past week, all of a sudden the government came out with something. They're investigating Paul Slowe again. That some sexual harassment that he's interfering with the person, or so I couldn't make sense of it. I couldn't make sense of what it is the police was saying. What is it Paul Slowe was doing? That they now got to investigate Paul Slowe. Paul Slowe is not hiding anywhere. He's out there every day, and he is exposing, speaking out. And the autocratic government doesn't like when people speaking out, especially when you get into the police story, because a lot of story is in there. And the usual thing, they try to shut you up. So they want to shut up Paul Slowe. They want to shut Paul Slowe up. I have observed governments in Guyana and their relationship with the police force. And I would be lying if I were to sit here and to say that this is the first government that has attempted to manipulate the police force. No, it's not the first, but it's the worst. It's not the first, but it's the worst. It is the worst. They're corrupting our young people, corrupting those little boys and girls who are going into the force. Good evening. Welcome. Last night, of course, the Amazon warriors. It was massacre in St. Kitts. Good evening to all of you who are joining us from St. Kitts. Lots of Guyanese there supporting the Amazon warriors. Good to see Hetmaya, Shimron Hetmaya, back in form. 91 last night, 11 sixes. They knock a 4, 11 sixes, 91. It's good to see that he's back. He's Vion. Bad boy, like all most of the young boys, them, their values are different, but we can't throw them away. And it's good to see that Hetmaya seems to be getting his act together. Because as we say, cricket goes beyond the boundaries, not just what happens in the field of play. Good evening to you, Emily. Good evening to you, Wesley, Colleen, Derek, Gwendolyn, Vibert, my brother Dave from Grove, Brenda Braffett, Shelley, Esther, Pamela, Imelda, the man from Block 22, Linden. Good evening to my friend Orin Arthur, boxing band. Maybe he's in California. He travels in between. Danette Booker from PA. And Danette was liquor. Danette was a Pennsylvania, She said, Dr. Hines, I'm joining from PA. Good evening to you, my sister Danette. Good evening, Denise, the Bookers. Good evening to you, Donna Liverpool. I think Donna is joining us there from French Guyana side. Good evening, Cheryl Glenn. Good evening, Pam Alls, Diane Mortimer. Good evening to all of you. Yvonne, good evening to you. I think we are ready. We are ready for Mr. Slowe, and we will get going with the conversation now. Mr. Slowe, good evening.
Good evening, Dr. Hines. Good evening to your viewers. Good evening to all.
And how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine given the circumstances, and well as one can be as can be expected.
Wonderful. You obviously you were a young boy coming into the police force when Randy Burroughs was steering tail
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Trinidad.
I enjoyed that introductory calypso there. Chagdos, Afraid Carl.
Afraid.
There's one that used to be one of my favorites as a little boy growing up. Carl Hudson Phillips, the Attorney General.
Yeah.
As you say, the lyrics, man. I listen to the lyrics. He ain't
Yeah.
talking about that, but he's saying it.
Yes. Randy Burroughs. I grew up in your area in Trinidad, and
Yeah, Burroughs. And then after Burroughs, I think was the ballad man. I can't his name escapes me now.
Yeah, I can't remember the man after
Yeah,
Burroughs, but Burroughs was quite a character,
yeah.
it seemed, and so on. So, Mr. Slowe, look, I opened the papers a couple of days ago, and I see this story about investigation. The police is investigating you for something. I, 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 I really didn't spend much time on it, and if it weren't so serious, I would just laugh it off. But clearly, this is an attempt at harassment. This is an attempt to harass you, and of course, you um, uh, uh, it back right away. And I haven't seen anything from the police since then. But give us a sense of what is it they were trying to do there.
Well, what is it they are trying to do is not you're using past tense, Doc, but I'm not using past tense. What they are trying to do. Now let me say this, because even today, I think it was and yesterday, Kwame McCoy went on the television NCN and he telling a pack of lies and so on. Let me tell you what is the story. In in um in October, on October the 15th, 2021, it is there on the tape when I um, returned to Guyana to attend court in response to a summon by Soku for a conspiracy to commit fraud charge. If people remember that when I turned up in the court compound, Ramana and others from Soku were there arresting me for the same matter that I was attending court for. Same matter. Nothing new. There's a cartoon, a very hilarious cartoon about the whole thing. So, all right. So I got into court when my lawyer, Mr. Selwyn Peters from Kenya, intervened in the court compound. Also, Attorney Patrice Henry intervened. And they then allowed me to go into the court 3, because that is where I was summoned to go. When I arrived in court, and the matter was called the conspiracy to commit fraud, which has been, others were charged before, and they were charged on the 19th of May 2021. I was in the Caribbean working, and when I returned on the 15th of October, the charge was read to me. I was surprised when for the first time I learned that there were 3 allegations of sexual assault. And what are the facts of the sexual assault? A female police officer reported on I think around the 14th or 15th of April 2021, that during 3 separate meetings on the 26th and 29th of March and on the 2nd of April 2019, during the course of a meeting at which several other persons were present, I placed my hand on her leg. That is the nature of the allegation, right? The first time I learned of that is when I appeared in court on the 15th of October 2021. I pleaded not guilty. Well, I didn't plead because the charges were indictable and I was not required to plead. Subsequently, the magistrate ruled, the police applied for summary disposal. That is to say, if it's indictable, it will go all the way to the judge and jury to be tried. But there's a provision under the Administration of Justice Act of 1978, which allows for indictable charges to be taken summarily, meaning that at the magistrate level, it will finish. So they made that application And of course, my lawyers had objected to it because we said, look, let me go before the judge and jury. But they argued, they charged indictably, and then argued successfully, I must add, for the matter to be done at the magistrate court. So, all right. So, after all the arguments, the magistrate decided that the matter is going to be disposed of summarily. I was then required to plead. I pleaded not guilty to the charges. I can't remember the exact date. This matter last came up. Well, what I've been doing on this program, you see the background is speaking out, exposing corruption and incompetence. I have been keeping the public informed. When I have to go to court, I will announce that this matter is coming up. I ain't hiding anything. The matter is coming up. I'm required to be in court. After the court, I've been updated on what transpired and within the bounds of the law, because I know of the subjudicial rule. You can't discuss the evidence and all that. I have not done so. So on the 20th of August, this matter came up before the magistrate for report. The magistrate then sent the matter to Code 3 for fixture and report on the 23rd of September. So it's not a trial yet. Let me walk you back. Charge on the 19th of May 2021 for offenses that are alleged to have occurred in 2019, and the magistrate now fixed it for the 23rd of September 2024 for report and for fixture. So you didn't get the trial stage yet. Now the following day, that is the 21st of August, as I usually do, informed my viewers that I had court yesterday. This is what had transpired. The matter is now fixed for the 23rd of September 2023 for report and fixture. I went on and I said that the magistrate wanted to fix an earlier date, but the police prosecutor, Mandel Moore, indicated to the magistrate that he was proceeding on leave and requested a later date, which was granted. I said that. I never went into the details. I have never gone into the details except to say what is the offense or the offenses I am alleged to have committed. Not any details of this matter. All I said, this is the allegation, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Now they are saying that because I have been, or on that occasion, I don't know, they haven't said anything to me, they haven't communicated anything to me, they haven't put any allegation to me, but based on what I've read, they're saying that the fact that I have been updating the public on that, I am attempting or I'm intimidating the complainant, which they claim is an offense under the Sexual Offences Act. And that is what they claim that they are investigating. I have it here. I have the report, what they say here. They say, and here the nastiness of these people. I will continue to point out. This is the Guyana Police Force statement. The Guyana Police Force is currently investigating another serious allegation under the Sexual Offences Act of the Guyana by a female against Paul Slowe. That is what the nastiness is. And then they went on to the bottom to say, well, they outlined the laws, Section 3.2 of the Police Act 1601, which says that the police shall enforce all laws and regulations with which it is directly charged. And here what they said, in collaboration with its overseas counterpart, they have commenced an investigation, after which legal advice will be sought as it relates to the charges to be instituted. The probe is ongoing. That is what they said last week when they released it. Well, last week, Friday, I had a special on Speaking Out, and I delved into the matter. I talked about the motivation, the fact that I'm being harassed, the reason why the government is trying to silence me, and I went into that. The next day, well, I also, there was some release in the media outlining the fact that I said, and I maintain, no one has ever said anything to me about this. No allegation was put to me. There was nothing of the sort. Nobody has asked me to give an explanation, which the Constitution requires. The Constitution says that if you're to be charged, you must be told in simple language and in detail what is the allegation. They have not done so. So what they did, after I said so now, they came out the following day, sometime over the weekend, to say that, well, no confrontation is necessary. And then they're quoting something to say, everybody said the Ghana Police Force in a statement on Saturday, that is last Saturday, said that Paul Slowe, in an online news article concerning the latest criminal conduct committed by him, and is quoted as saying he was never questioned, detained, or asked to report to any police station for questioning or to have a confrontation with the person who made the allegation. I never said anything about confrontation. They can't tell me about the law. I know the law. The Sexual Offences Act doesn't require any confrontation. But I maintain that I was never questioned. I was never questioned. I was never detained. I was never asked to report to any police station. That is a fact. That is true. So they came with this, and then they said that the reason, I hear what they said, the reason why, and let me read that. According to the statement, the Ghana Police Force said that what Paul Slowe did not mention is the said article, in the said article, was that from the date he committed the latest offense to present, he was not in Guyana. Therefore, he could not have been questioned or detained by members of the Ghana Police Force. That is what they came out to say. But then, I let them write more because I am trained in statement analysis. All right, I am not there. I'm not in Guyana. So therefore, you couldn't question me. You couldn't detain me. But you said, they said in the initial report that this investigation is being conducted in collaboration with overseas counterpart. You see how they dance? You see how they dance and how they just skin up themselves? You are conducting an investigation in collaboration. Not me, says so, it's them, says so, with overseas counterpart. So if I'm not there for you to put this allegation to me, I'm not there to be questioned, what happened to your overseas counterpart? What happened? They said so. The overseas counterpart. It's all a campaign designed to malign, to smear my character, my good character, right? That is what it is designed. It is designed to intimidate and to shut me up. This program that I have, speaking out, exposing corruption and incompetence, has grown exponentially over the past months because people are saying that the information that is being provided, the education they're getting and how policing is to be done. I want to talk about people. I'm not only talking about civilian, policemen, including senior officers, will say that, look, they are learning so much from the program. That is getting to them because you're calling out the corruption. This program is the first program to point out this allegation against Bruto, $16.5 million deposited in the police credit union. We call, and not for long. They weren't doing anything. They weren't doing anything, but we kept on talking about it. And then they were forced to say they're doing something. They're forced. And we're going to continue to talk about it. I am going to continue to talk about it. So that is what this whole thing is about. As I've said, so far, no one has said anything to me. They published this thing over a week ago. They have not said anything to me. The overseas counterpart has not said anything to me. And I'm waiting to hear the next move. But, people tell me that I got a crystal ball because I can read these things. As you said earlier, I had 37 years of policing, 37 years police experience. Not like these people who sit there, no exposure, no policing experience, right? 37 years. During that period of time, I had the privilege of attending the police staff college in the UK. I attended the FBI Academy in Virginia, USA, and many other top police training. So I'm well trained as a police officer. And hey, let me tell you this. I retire over 14 years now. And the training don't retire with you. The training is there. You get the training, it remains there. And they know because prior to retiring, and even after I retired, I used to go and lecture to the police officers, senior officers, them, passing on the knowledge, pass on the knowledge. So I understand what is going on. And I said to them, when you look at the crystal ball, based on the statements they have issued, they're going to come up with a concocted file. They're going to take it to the DPP. And the DPP, this DPP, who Bernard DeSantis, a former attorney general who you would know, said in a statement, it's contained in a book, Hijacking of the New Building Society. He said it is, and I'm paraphrasing it because I don't have the book, he said that it is suspected among the criminal bar, there is the lawyers who practice in criminal law, that the acting director of public prosecutions, whose husband is a Muslim cleric, cannot separate a religion from our professional duties. Bernard DeSantis said so, not me. So therefore, I anticipate that when they carry the file to the DPP at some stage, the DPP is going to say, charge Slowe for whatever recommendation. So whether recommend charge under the Sexual Offences Act for as a claim intimidating the witness or something under the Cybercrime Act, they're going to say charge. But I am not afraid. I have said repeatedly, they are doing their level best to bring me to my knees and to get me to bow down. And I said, anytime they see me on my knees, is to pray for them. That is what I'm going on my knees to do, to pray for them. But they're just wicked. And let me tell you this again yesterday, I'm going to address that on Monday. Kwame McCoy went on the thing. There was a program I was asked to take part in from the host is a person from Grenada. And I mentioned some of the same thing. Kwame McCoy is a calling program, calling to say that I am Slowe, and Bork was on the program too. He's a liar and he lie. And what they can't point out all the things I've said. I have said many, many things, myself and my colleague Conway. They have never ever pointed out, say, well, there's a lie. But you come with this broad brush, say, oh, you're lying. What lie have I told? You come and tell the people, Kwame McCoy or anybody else, what lie, anything that Paul Slowe is saying, that is not true. They can't do that because when I talk, I bring the facts, I bring the date, I bring the time, I quote the law, and that is what is getting to them. But they're not going to stop me that. I told them that I will continue to speak the truth. And the only thing to prevent me from speaking the truth is the grave. And only the good Lord will determine when I'm going to go there. And you know, they met back in after I was charged in 2021. Shortly thereafter, I got word that elements associated with the PPP were canvassing the underworld in Guyana to try to, and this is what the people to shut me up. That is what, to shut me up, right? I made a statement to that effect. Nandalal, the Attorney General, came out to say Slowe is trying to seek attention. That was his response. Slowe is trying to seek attention. Nothing else. Then do not know. I made a report at the right places, not to the police, to the right places. More recently, as recent as a few days ago, I got word that what they're doing now, they're using a next person who is associated with them, and now he's in New York to try to recruit people to assassinate me, and I think they mentioned Melly Mel as well. That is there. I have made a report to the relevant authorities again, right? Because that is what they're doing. They don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear the truth. So they're trying to intimidate. And it appears as though if they believe they can't get you to shut up, they will try to kill you to shut you up. Well, again, I'm not afraid. And one of the reasons why I'm not afraid, because unlike them, I know that I have to die one day. You see, they're thieving and they're doing all this other thing because they believe that they're not going to die. Or if they die, they're going to carry all them thieving money with them. But you don't work so. It don't work that way. So I have no fear of that. I know that I have done absolutely nothing wrong. And therefore, they say you do nothing, fear nothing. That is my mantra.
Mr. Slowe, you know, I am a normally, reasonably sensible person. And when by that I mean, normally I can read things and make sense of it. Part of that I do for my job. But when I read that thing first, the first impression I got is these people are saying Paul Slowe must be called this lady an intimidator, and because that's what this intimidation. When you talk about somebody intimidating a witness, it's tampering with the witness. And if I could have drawn that conclusion, people who don't normally take the time to read things and try to figure out, they would have gotten that impression too. And the point I am making here is quite apart from whatever else they're trying to do. I think this is like smearing you, because intimidating a witness to the ordinary person means that you are harassing that person, you're calling the phone and all that kind of stuff. And only to find out that that is not the case. They're saying that something you say on your program, I mean, that is bad enough. But the impression the regular person will get is that you are harassing this witness. Am I wrong to have thought that when I first read the thing?
But you're not the only person who thought so, because a lot of people ask, what is this new thing they're talking about? And when I explained to them, you say, well, like they try to create the impression that this is some other act that committed recently, right? They say some other act, and that is the wickedness. And yes, they're trying to smear me. Yes, and that is why I am happy for these opportunities to come on this program and to use my program to tell people exactly what the circumstances or what the facts are. And then when people get that, then all the reaction has been, these people wicked. We never knew that is what it is. On the program, they're saying that I'm using, they're saying let's say yes, I'm using social media. But let me say this, that this program is a program, nobody forcing anybody to look at it. I have never, I encourage people to look. I'm not forcing anybody to look at it. So if this person who made this allegation feel that something is going to be said, all you have to do, don't listen, and then you can be intimidated or harassed, right? But that is the level of wickedness you have. That is the level of wickedness you have there going on in the hierarchy of the Ghana Police Force. That is what is going on. And I will continue to speak out. I will continue to let people know exactly what the facts are. Again, let me say, the allegation, because you know how the thing goes. Let me explain to you, audience. Once the court decides that, look, this indictable matter, the matters are filed indictably, meaning that they intend to have it heard before the judge and jury. So long ago, under normal circumstances, you would have had a preliminary inquiry conducted by the magistrate to determine if there's a prima facie case to go to the judge and jury. Now, in this case, they instituted the charge on the 19th of May, 2021, indictably. And then when I appeared finally on the 15th of October, 2021, right, and the charge is read indictably. When you're in charge indictably, and you appear before the magistrate will read the charge to you and tell you that the charge is indictable. You're not required to plead. So you're not required to plead to the indictable charge. When they made the application for a summary disposal, the arguments were heard, and when the magistrate decided that, look, the matter will be disposed of summarily, that is the time that you I pleaded not guilty. And as I said, 15, and what I was about to say is that once that is done, then they have to do what we call disclosure. In other words, the prosecution now have to give you all the statements and all the things that they intend to use at the trial, disclosure. So you get an opportunity to see what the allegation is and to prepare your defense adequately. That is what it is. So I got the statements, and then I saw in the statement that the allegation was made either the 14th or 15th of April 2021. And the allegation is that these incidents, 3 separate incidents, occurred on the 26th and 29th of March and the 2nd of April 2019, 2 years before the allegation was made. And this is 2024, and the matter can't try yet. And I have said, you talk about trauma, and if anybody is to be traumatized, I am the person who should be traumatized. With all that I get the acolytes saying, that accusing me of being a sexual predator and that I'm a rapist. Up to last night, they have one of the acolytes came on the talk, the show that I was referring to earlier, to call me a rapist. I had to tell them, the people, exactly. That is what they're doing. So I am the one who should be traumatized by all this. If you have a case, let's go. Let's bring the evidence. I have always said, bring the evidence. Let the evidence be examined before the court. I'm not running. I'm not hiding. I have gone to Guyana on every occasion I'm required to be there for any one of the trumped-up matters they brought against me. They had the conspiracy to commit fraud. I went and I sat through the entire trial in Guyana, even though I was not required to be there physically. I went and I sat through it. The magistrate dismissed that charge on the 27th of December, 2023. Dismissed. And the magistrate remarked in dismissing the charge that there is not an iota of evidence. That is what the magistrate said, not me. There is not an iota of evidence against any one of the defendant, including me. A lawyer, one of the defense lawyers, Patrick Tad, I said Tad, not Patrick Tad, Dexter Tad. There's another Tad Patrick, Dexter Tad. Dexter said that when he looked at the file, he can't understand how anyone with legal training would have gone through that and say that persons should be charged, because there was no evidence. The thing is clearly politically motivated. And if you look at the time frame, as I like to explain, April 2021, when this allegation was made, and what was going on then? April 2021 is the time when the Chief Justice was inquiring into the challenge to the promotion brought by Calvin Brutus, the same Brutus. And therefore, they wanted to get me off the Police Service Commission. Mark Phillips wrote that. As I've said, persons charged on the 19th of May, 2021. Myself, Mr. Conway, who was another member of the Police Service Commission, retired Assistant Commissioner Whitaker, retired Senior Superintendent George Fraser, retired Superintendent Mark Gilbert, and some serving policemen, including Assistant Commissioner Andrew Julia, we charged with conspiracy to commit fraud, and the serving members were charged with misconduct in public office, right? So on the 19th, that charge is the charge is filed, the charge is filed. The very night of the 19th, or the evening of the 19th, Mark Phillips, the Prime Minister, wrote to myself and Mr. Conway, the two members of the Police Service Commission, for us to show cause why he should not advise the President to have us removed from the Police Service Commission because we were charged with, so there's no presumption of innocence there. And I said the system in Guyana cannot be that efficient for the same day the matter is filed, and even before the defendants went to court, Mark Phillips can get the information to write letters to me and Mr. Conway. It was a conspiracy. The evidence is clear. It was a conspiracy to get Slowe and Conway off the commission. When they realized that that couldn't work, Mark Phillips, again, about a week or two after, wrote another letter, this time to all members of the Police Service Commission, again asking us to show cause why he should not advise the President to have us removed from the Police Service Commission. This time, the reason was that we adjourned with Member of Parliament Ganesh Maipal to challenge the lawfulness of the amendment to the Fiscal Management and Accountability Act. And let me tell you, yes, we did join in that challenge, but we were not the only commission to join. Other commissions joined as well, and they never even targeted those other commissions. I am the bad boy. I am the one who they wanted to get rid of, so they did that. And the outcome of that matter is that Justice Gino Prasad ruled that the President acted ultra-virus the Constitution when he suspended the Police Service Commission the 16th of June 2021. Right? He says it was unlawful, it was unreasonable, it was ultra-virus, it was null, void, and of no legal effect. That's what the judge said. The judge said those things. So again, I'm giving you the timeline for you to understand why this allegation would have been made. These allegations would have been made against me at a particular time. At a particular time, April, and so on. Then in June, and let me say further, got to educate these people. So the charges are filed, and then the Chief Justice was scheduled to deliver the final decision in the matter on the 18th of June 2021. On the 18th of June. On the 16th of June 2021, the President wrote to every member of the Commission saying that we were suspended with immediate effect. And why? Because, as I've said, the Chief Justice was rendered the decision on the 18th, and they knew full well that the matter would have gone against Brutus and others. And therefore, they did not want the Police Service Commission to be in place when the judge rendered the decision and threw out the challenge by Brutus. It wasn't rendered on that day. She rendered it on the 28th of June 2021. And during our delivery, she said that she found Senior Superintendent Calvin Brutus to be self-serving. That is what the Chief Justice said. She found that he was self-serving. And what did they do? They left him in the position, the same admin position where he's alleged to have committed all these misconduct, and they promoted him. They promoted him. So that is what is going on. They don't like to hear that because, you see, I rattling out all the dates and so on. These are facts. These are, the thing is there. All the court documents are there to support. So Kwame McCoy can come again to say that I lie. The things are there. That is what is going on. They want to tarnish my reputation and image. And let me say further, because Kwame McCoy yesterday said, I'm going to deal with it extensively on Monday. Said that was Slowe being always against the government. He's a PNC operative. That's me he referring to. And I had to remind them that I was the young superintendent on October the 5th, 1992, when they had the elections and when they had the disturbance in Georgetown. I was in charge of the TSU. And the older folks will remember, I am the one who went out there with the riot unit and restore order to Georgetown within a short space of time, perhaps within a record space of time. Following that, I was hailed by them as the most professional police officer in the Guyana Police Force. Ask Roy and all of these people, guilty share, they've been around long enough. Donna Ramatar, they will remember. I was recognized, I was hailed as the most professional police officer by the same PPP people. Of course, they had the opposition, the PNC people and them didn't like me because they felt that I prevented the supporters from creating havoc in the tongue. And as a result of that, as a result of my action then, and again in 1997, when again I had to take action to put down this unrest and restore order in town. I was the same PPP government gave me a national award, discipline service medal. So when Kwame McCoy and all of them come and talk a set of crap, you got to bring the facts to people. You have to bring the facts to people. So they didn't know then that Slowe was a PNC, and they didn't know then. And this whole thing turned around in 2003 when I was commanding Borbies, and the Minister of Home Affairs, Gadraj, ordered me to return a firearm to a man that a matter was being investigated. He inappropriately intervened, and I told him, no, the matter has not reached the stage for the firearm to return. And then he said he was ordering me. He said, you can't order me. You cannot order me. And Jack Dio, the president, got involved in that matter, summoned me to his office, right? And basically demanded that I should apologize to Gadraj. And I refused to do so. I told him plainly. I said, look, if Gadraj was to put in writing what wrong I have done, I might apologize if I see it in writing. But they know they're going to put it in writing, so it doesn't reward them. And then what they did, they then, I have all the letters, I'm going to write it one of these days. They then illegally removed me, or attempted to remove me from the force, to send me to the Financial Investigative Unit, which had not been established at that time. I think the Parliament had passed the necessary legislation, but they had never taken the steps to establish that. They moved me. I went to court, got an injunction against them, and they never put in a defense to that injunction. MacDonald was the commissioner at the time. He was the man who was complicit in all this, weak man, and the thing. And I remained in Borbies. As a matter of fact, when MacDonald demitted office, I had to go to court to Felix took over from him to discontinue the proceedings so that I could be moved. Felix then wanted to move me to Georgetown. So it's the whole history of the thing. And as a result of that, spitefulness, vindictiveness of Jack Dio, calling the name, I remained an assistant commissioner in the police force for 11 years.
Wow.
For 11 years until I retired in 2010. And when I retired in 2010, this thing is a long thing. When I retired in 2010, you know what is the gift I got from the police force? The Attorney General, Charles Ramsden Sr., they sue me. They sue me when I retired. What did he sue me for? During my retirement speech, I said that there was one of the disappointments I had in the force was that a young, bright officer who won a scholarship to go and study police-related subject in the UK was dismissed because he was studying. They dismissed him. I said that was, even though he had leave, even though he had all the coverage, they dismissed him. I said that disappointed me. That is one. Charles Ramsden said because at that time, the officer challenged the dismissal in the court. He said that the matter was before the court and I should not have commented on it. They sued me. Charles Ramsden Sr. took me to court. I was represented by the late Rex McKay. And what happened? The matter stayed and it fizzled out because all the legal people said, no, there was absolutely nothing wrong with what I said. I did not comment on the merits of the case. All I said, I was disappointed. I didn't even call name. I was disappointed that this young officer who had won a scholarship, unprecedented in the police force, to go and study in the UK, what he did, he came back, he worked for about a year, and then they dismissed him retroactively. I said that, and they sued me for that. So it's not a no battle with them. It's something that has been going on. And I said recently, I can't believe that they're so stupid not to recognize that they cannot intimidate or silence Slowe or prevent Slowe from speaking the truth. They have tried it. It has failed. Jack Dio tried it. Failed. Ramsden tried it. Failed. Gadraj failed. And all of them will fail because I am no coward. My father does not raise a coward, right? And as I've said, I speak the truth. And they can go and they can research it if they are so inclined, or anyone who hears me say anything can go and check out the facts. Those are the facts. So when people like this send out people like Kwame McCoy, a convicted criminal, and all of these people, I am not worried about them. I'm not worried. I mean, people have been calling me, express concern for my safety and all of that. I said, look, I am not afraid. I'm not afraid to die. That doesn't mean I'm going to stand in the middle of the highway when a truck is coming. I'm going to take whatever precaution are necessary. Again, I want to thank all those people who have been reaching out to me and praying. They say they're praying for my well-being and so on. I thank them and I ask them to continue to do so. Remember, God is in charge.
God is in charge all the time. Mr. Paul Slowe here tonight, laying it out for us. The harassment that he has been subjected to by this government going way back when he was in the police force. 11 years stuck as an assistant commissioner. That must be a record in the police world. It goes to show what goes on in our country. When Professor um, Bertrand, um, um, Professor Bertrand Ramcharan said the other day that there are shades of autocracy in Guyana, and he was being quite kind by saying shades of autocracy. Many of us know, most of us know that we are a full-fledged autocracy. When you listen to Paul Slowe recount what he went through, that's the work of autocrats. And it is those stories that are hidden. When Ralph Ramkaran said there are no shades of autocracy, I hope somebody send the tape of this program to Ralph Ramkaran tonight. So that yes.
Let me say this. Ralph
Yes.
Ramkaran was speaker at the time. When I retired in 2010, we met at the Queen's birthday function in Bel Air there, and he congratulated me on the service that I gave, right? And he said to, no, not he wasn't, that is the one who said that. I was about to say something, but he said to me, he said, look, the only fault that he found with me, I was no diplomat. And I said, guilty, sir, guilty. Yeah. And I know exactly what he was referring to, right? He complimented me on my sterling service in the Guyana Police Force.
There you go. And so it is these stories that we have to know for us to know how the system in Guyana works. Mr. Paul Slowe, thank you for bringing that story with Mr. Calvin Brutus to the public attention. And we knew what happened. Now we are hearing, reporting this week's paper, which you've seen, all of us have seen, that, and we had heard reports that Mr. Brutus's wife owned a company that was doing business with the police force, and obviously that falls into the realm of conflict of interest. And now we are learning that for her to have done business, the vouchers would have had to go to the Ministry of Home Affairs. So this thing was not just a little story; it's at the highest level that this kind of corruption was going on. Your comments?
Now, I'm saying this, I've said it before in respect to this Brutus matter, and I will continue to say that they are telling us that SOCU, the Special Organized Crime Unit of the Guyana Police Force, is investigating. I'm saying that SOCU does not have the capability of investigating this matter. Now, this is not only about an attempt to launder $16.5 million. It is far, far deeper than that. It is, you talk about the conflict. And let me explain. Brutus came down in 2020 as the man in charge of admin in the Guyana Police Force, senior superintendent, unprecedented. There's a rank that is reserved, a position is reserved for assistant commissioners and up. So they brought him there, 2020. We know what happened in 2020. Government change on the 2nd of August 2020. He came there shortly after, right? And he went into that position. Now, once he get there, the admin man is in charge of the quartermaster stores, is in charge, it comes under his portfolio, the quartermaster store, the police finance office, the construction sections, all of those areas that I've called are areas where a lot of money is used. Quartermaster store, they buy uniform, they buy all kind of thing, all the acquisitions, quartermaster stores, right? The finance office, so we know the finance office, all the vouchers and so on have to pass through there. Right? Construction section, same thing. Any repairs and so on to buildings, all the fittings, they are the ones. He was in charge of that. We learned sometime after that there was a big fraud at the police quartermaster store. The amount of money they said was about $300 million fraud. You hear nothing more about that. How the system works. They Yeah, we have the accounting system where the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs is the accounting officer for the police. It used to be accounting for capital as well as current. I'm not sure what it is now, meaning that no sums of money can be spent in the police force unless it's approved by the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs. None. So capital items like big set of uniform, thousands and thousands of pair of boots and shoes, Ministry of Home Affairs has to be involved. Now, I made the point that there's no way Brutus could have been involved in this massive corruption that they're alleging, involving hundreds of millions of dollars, without the complicity of the people at the police finance office with the people at the Ministry of Home Affairs. They had to be. Now we're hearing that Brutus' wife asked company, and I have a correspondence here, the memo from the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board, writing to the Mr. Andre Ali, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Home Affairs, to say that I'm going to read it quickly, a short letter. The National Procurement and Tender Board acknowledged receipt of your letter dated 5th of December 2023, referencing the above-mentioned subject. The content of your letter was received, and the National Procurement Tender Administration Board has granted its no objection to your request for the inclusion of the following contractors to the category of provision of construction and other services. And among those, 8 companies are listed, and one is listed as South Quarter Contracting and General Supplies. It is said, it is alleged that is owned by the wife of Calvin Brutus, the man in charge of admin. So what you have a situation where the man in charge of admin, wife is supplying, so he has to approve of those things. He has to approve of the vouchers or whatever to payment to his wife. He too established a company. And I have the documents here, and I totally like quality all of them. When I talk as a former senior police officer, I come in with facts. I have the receipts. He established a company by the name of Catus on the 28th day of June 2023, right? 1 million ordinary shares and all of that. So the thing is a whole corrupt arrangement, incestuous arrangement, where the man in charge of admin establishes a company to supply items to the police. His wife establishes 2 companies because they talk about that one, and she also established another company, what's the name? She's the sole proprietor of some company, and her name is here. I'm not going to call her name, but her name is on the document that I see here. AAA Depot. So 2 companies, as far as I'm aware, the wife of the man in charge of admin established, and all of these companies were established within recent time. His company, the wife company, is the June of 2023, and then this next one sometime after, I'm not sure of the date. So it's a corrupt process. And don't listen to me, listen to Robson Ben. Robson Ben mentioned it recently, a couple months ago, the police, about the problem with procurement. He mentioned it. Jack Dio talked about the same thing at one of his rantings on a Thursday, right? So it's not Slowe making up these things. It is there. And how can you have a situation where the man in charge of admin is actually approving payments to his wife? Not only the payment, even before he gets to the payment, he is actually requisitioning, that's the allegation, that he requisitions for stuff on behalf of the police. So he would say they want 1,000 roll of toilet paper. And this is not just, and his company then supplies the toilet paper. The allegation is that in many cases, the items that are requisitioned and the quantities that are requisitioned is not the quantities that are supplied, but they are paid for the full amount. So you might requisition 500 of one item, you supply 200 or some lesser number, and then you get paid for the full 500. That is why the allegation, and that is why I say that the SOCU is incapable of investigating this. Because if the PS, Ministry of Home Affairs, is the accounting officer, how can the PS not know, or at least not suspect, that all this massive corruption going on? Well, if you don't even want to call it corruption, conflict of interest, a real conflict of interest. And out of that, you ought to recognize that something is wrong and put your foot down on it. Ropesmen wake up suddenly and decide, oh, the procurement process. They put in 10 vouchers, they turn back. I understand that once the thing, we started to talk about this thing with Brutus and so on, thousands of, well, that thousand, I'm not sure, the hundreds of vouchers were returned, bogus vouchers. They then suddenly decide they're going to make a little check and return all of these vouchers because who they perhaps they recognize that these things were improper. And it's not me saying that. The records are there. If they want to do a proper investigation, which I don't think they want to do, and the reason why they don't want to do, because it is alleged again that Brutus say he ain't going on alone. He alone is not involved.
There you go.
And the evidence is there. Look, you referenced it earlier about the acting commissioner. We call him on our program the extended squatter because his time has come, long past, for him to retire, and the president decided to extend him. So he was squatting and he's extended. So he's not longer a squatter, he's an extended squatter. Now he's there. You mentioned it earlier. When he was asked at Marriott about the same Brutus matter, whether in fact Brutus did deposit $16.5 million into the police credit union, he said no money was deposited, no investigation is going on. That is what he said. And even if he might have been correct that no investigation is going on because of the time when he spoke, and I know that is not so, but I'm giving him the benefit. Even if no investigation was going on, he must have known, or he ought to have known that money in fact was deposited. Because the allegation is that shortly thereafter, within a day or so after the ranks did the correct thing and returned the money to Brutus in 2 black plastic bags, right? What they call in Jamaica scandal bags, the monies were returned to him. He called the ranks who stopped this illegal process, berated them and transferred them from the credit union, which in itself is an illegal act because the credit union is a financial institution. And even though it's a police credit union, they have a board of management. And the commissioner or no one else should be moving those people there willy-nilly. But you see, that is the thing. He said, and I'm saying that statement by him shows that he was complicit and that he was involved in a cover-up, if not worse. And that alone should have caused him, when Brutus said that he was going to leave, the two of them should have held each other's hands and walked through the gate at the same time. But he's still there. He's still there. And what is happening, my information is, it's about 60 days now since Brutus, they said that Brutus proceeded on leave to facilitate this investigation. Up to now, and that is what is being said. They have not released another statement. And my understanding is that Brutus has not been questioned. The allegation has not been put to him about 2 months down the road. So what type of investigation is that? I know in investigations of this nature, one of the first things you do, and I made the point earlier, is that from the time you get investigations involving financial impropriety, one of the first things the investigators should do, proper investigation, is seize all the books and all the documents and all that. All the records should be seized because I don't want people to destroy them. You don't want people. Weeks after Brutus matter, we're hearing the saying that they're only the seizing people food. The only investigation we know that they did, they're trying to investigate to find out who are the persons who leaked the information from the police credit union. That is what they're doing. They are victimizing those persons, trying to intimidate them, threaten them with criminal charges and all kind of things because they are involved in a cover-up. They don't want the truth to be known because I suspect, as Brutus said, he ain't going down alone. He carrying a lot of them with him because all of them involved in corruption. Imagine at the senior level, and let me understand, just in case you don't know, you have the Ikin is an assistant commissioner. He's acting as commissioner. Brutus at the time was an assistant commissioner, admin. Very powerful position. The de facto second in command of the force. And he is involved in all of these irregularities. And look, this is not a man's force rodeo, as they would say. Evidence surfaced some time ago that vouchers, advance forms, the man approving advances in the sum of $200,000 or more on each occasion. For his secretary, a female, to travel to the interior to conduct investigations. And one of these things is so ridiculous, his driver is going to Port Kaituma on Christmas Eve day to conduct an investigation. First, he's not an investigator. And I know police didn't leave in Georgetown on Christmas Eve day to go to Port Kaituma because you can't go there by road. You cannot go there by road. But it's all part of the corruption process because the allegation is he approves the advance 200,000 cash Guyana currency, and then the people get a little tap up and he off the rest. That is what the allegation is. All of those things should be investigated. Look, long ago we were saying that the police central welfare fund, the police fine fund, police has a lot of funds, about over a dozen different bank accounts and so on, that they should do an audit into those things because the allegation is that they have decimated those accounts. That is what the allegation. So again, I say, Soku gonna come and tell you about they're investigating this. I think a financial impropriety. That is what they put it. They are not capable of doing a proper investigation in this matter. They are not capable. And at the end of the day, nothing credible can come out of Soku. Nothing credible can come from Soku. And I get a strong suspicion this is going to be another Dharamla-like case where the file going to go to the DPP at some stage and they're going to say they ain't got no evidence to charge nobody. And that's going to be it. That is what is going to be. That is what I suspect, right? Because as we say, they are fearful that if they were to bring charge against Brutus, is the old baby party that broke up.
Broke up. Oh my goodness. Mr. Slowe, 4.4 tons of cocaine. Not ganja. 4.4 tons of cocaine found at Matthews Ridge. Help me. Help me. Guyana don't produce cocaine. How does cocaine reach to Matthews Ridge? And then you're hearing today some senior police officer who was supposed to be involved in the thing. The commissioner again said today that he saw it on social media. And if what social media is saying is true, then it will be investigated. Demerara Wave said that they spoke to the so-called a police officer, and he said he doesn't know anything that he would be recalled, and he doesn't know anything that he is being investigated in relation to this thing. Tell us what are you hearing?
What's that? Let me go for you. Share disclaimer. You asked for the cocaine. It's not me own. That's the first thing I said. This 4,400 kilograms of cocaine is not me own. But you know, again, I analyzed this thing only yesterday. Massive drug bust on Saturday in Region 1. They said just near to the Matthews Ridge airstrip, some illegal airstrip they claim. First of all, the airstrip had to have been built over a period of time. They can't build in a day or perhaps even 2 or even a week. It had to be built in over a period of time. So it shows that there was a massive security breakdown, massive security breakdown, that this thing would have been built and the authorities had know about it. That is one. 2, what struck me when I read the report is that the people who were involved in this operation, this massive operation, were members of the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit. They say the Drug Enforcement Agency of the U.S. and the Special Forces of the Guyana Defense Force. No police. Your primary law enforcement agency was excluded from that operation. That tells a story. It tells me that the people who managed to gather the intelligence for that operation did not trust the police to tell them about it. That is what it tells me. So they were not involved at all. And then when I spoke about that yesterday, I saw, or Monday might have been, no, not Monday, we had no program Monday. Yesterday, I see Kanu come out with a statement and said that the commissioner and the crime chief were briefed. When? They were briefed, yes, but when? When? Because the report said to, in I think Stabrook News on Sunday it might have been, said in the last paragraph that after the operation, the commander of Region 1, Senior Superintendent Shah, was called and briefed after the operation. And I mean, we big, but we aren't stupid. If you have such a massive operation, because what they're saying now, and it's Kanu saying that, is that apparently they got intelligence and they were there days before combing the area. And having not found anything above ground, the intelligence was so concrete that they knew it was there. So they decided to probe on the ground, and bingo, they got the cocaine. But what? And then let me tell you further. Let me tell you further. The Minister of Home Affairs, who was there making a statement, I never see a man so nervous yet. The man nervous, the man stammered, just like when Jack Dio was talking about Sue, someone just like that. He said that they took in the journalists from Georgetown. In other words, they flew journalists, I think might have been from Ogle, to this area to witness this the last part of this operation. In other words, they wanted to give credibility that the drug destroy and so on. Again, not the police. You're flying from town to go to Matthews Ridge or this area, this operation area. They then carry the man in charge of operations, police. They then carry the man, the commissioner himself. They didn't even bring the divisional command, CID. They didn't carry no police. No police was involved in that operation. And based on the timeline that they're saying, when the operation was completed, successfully completed, then is when they inform the police, they brief the crime chief, and they brief the commissioner. I would love for them to come and dispute that. Let them come and say, let us send Kwame McCoy to say that is not so, that the police were aware of this operation. They were kept in the blind. I read something from one of the Jamaican papers not so long ago. A friend from Jamaica sent it to me. Same thing they're saying, that the police in the region were kept in the dark about this operation. And then you hear, as you said, I think it was yesterday, Kaicho News is saying that a senior police officer is fingered in this operation. A senior police officer is fingered in this operation. And true to form, the extended squad to tell people, well, he ain't see no nothing but the thing, he ain't see nothing. But I can tell you now, which has been reported this afternoon, that the same commando who was there has now been removed from the area to area in Georgetown. Yes. And they have some changes that have taken place. That is what is being reported. My information is that he's removed, a senior superintendent is removed from Region 1, commanding Region 1, and they park you up at the police transport section for look after them old vehicles that they have there. He's taken over, a senior superintendent is taken over from a cadet officer. And when you talk about the chaos or the crisis in the senior management of the force, they either come and they tell you you're attacking them or you're demoralizing the force. You're bringing facts because the ranks below know what's going on. So within the past 2 months or so, you had Brutus move from admin to special branch. You had the special branch man Watts move from special branch to operations. You had Budram, who was at operations, move to admin. Then they end on there. You had the man on the East Coast who is involved in a big letter writing with the crime chief. He went and leave. When he came back, they park he up at a place in we just call it the park up. There's a garage. They park you up where when you don't want you to go any place. They park in there. And now you have this today. You have movements again today. How can you say that this force is not dysfunctional? How can you say that? Well, it's corruption. It's corruption. Don't forget, not so long ago, in the paper shots murder, that a police sergeant alleged that the man in charge of the major crime unit took $30 million to cover up paper shot murder. And what did they do? They said they brought in RSS, we just call it RASS, to oversee something. And some man came from the regional security system, right, to oversee this investigation into this paper charge murder. And the allegation made by the police sergeant, he never spoke to the police sergeant, but he concluded that the police were capable of solving this matter. And they tried to say that this man, the sergeant, lied, and he's trying to get back at people. And the man, the sergeant, who, according to the law, should be deemed as a whistleblower and offered the necessary protection. What they do? They charge him for several cybercrime charges and trying to get rid of him out of the police force. So they don't want to air the truth. And I said the only way you can get to the truth in all of this is to make sure that you have a credible investigation by a credible organization. I recommended the FBI, I recommended the Scotland Yard or the mounted police. Because, again, so who can't do this investigation? This is too big an investigation, too big. Who can forget this Sugate's allegation against the vice president? And what has happened to that? Nothing. And again, I made the point that if the vice president is innocent, as he claims to be, he should be answered. He has the power to make sure that a credible investigation is done. He has the power to say, all right, they're always telling you in recent times since the sanction of the Mohammeds and the PS that they have a good relationship with the United States. Yeah, if you have a good relationship with the United States, ask them to send the FBI to conduct the investigation into this damning allegation against the vice president. Ask them to come and do that. They're not going to do that. And if you're not going to do that, I will tend to then believe it's because you know the thing gets some truth in it. So you don't want to be exposed. So you're going to talk about Soku, and then Soku going to send them to the DPP, and the DPP then use a political act and say no evidence and all of that. That is what is going on. And they don't want, they hate me because, no, not them. I am, everywhere I go, policemen reach me and they thank me for talking out because they are afraid. You talk out, they're going to transfer you, they're going to dismiss you, and all that is what they are afraid to speak. But I will speak out because, as I've said, I am not afraid.
I am not afraid, Mr. Paul Slowe. Here you can catch Mr. Slowe on Speaking Out, 11 o'clock, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Monday and Wednesdays. Fridays does be special sometimes, but it's Mondays and Wednesdays. Last Friday, I had a program to address this false allegation, this malicious allegation. But the program is normally on Mondays and Wednesdays at 11 o'clock. Myself and my colleague, Mr. Clinton Conway.
There you have it, Mondays and Wednesdays at 11 o'clock. Make sure you tune in. And when I look at the numbers that program generates, I know that a lot of us look at that program. It's it is unique. Like I said in my introduction, you're getting it from someone who knows the police system, who served for 37 years, who served at the highest level, and who is a supporter of the police force. So this is not somebody who wants to bash policemen and women. This is somebody who comes to this conversation with credibility. And so when Paul Slowe speaks on this matter, we must listen. We must listen. Mr. Slowe, is there anything you want to say before we close off this evening?
Again, I want to thank you, Dr. Hines, because I'm using every single opportunity presented to me to make sure that the facts are out there. They're going to send the trolls. They're going to send the people like Kwame Mackay. Imagine Kwame Mackay said on the program, I have no credibility. Kwame Mackay, of all people, says Slowe ain't got no credibility. I'm more credible than he, Jagdio, Nandlal, Irfan Ali, all them put together, including Rosenberg. And that I am not me saying so. I want to blow my own trumpet. That's what people are saying. I am more credible by them than them. You can't believe anything that they say. The extended squatter, we saw the evidence there where he's lying. I know I made the point because after he made that statement to Dennis Shabal being the professional years, wrote a follow-up article to say the Commissioner of Police was wrong when he said that there was no money lodged or no investigation. And I came out the next day and said he wasn't wrong. He lied.
He lied.
I'm not gonna use any euphemism or anything like that. I said I lie, right? And that's what getting to them. That is what is getting to them. Again, I'm happy for the opportunity to be here. And folks, I know people have said they have expressed concern for my safety and all of that. And I say I'm not afraid to tell the truth. I will continue to tell the truth. I thank all of you who have reached out to me and those people who are the prayer warriors who are praying for my safety. I thank you, but be assured that I'm going to continue to speak the truth. I'm going to come here. I'm going to let you know I'm speaking out and every opportunity I get to tell the truth. And here, finally, you know what's bothering the PVP? And this is not politics. What is bothering the PVP is this platform or these platforms on social media. You see, Doc, you know, long ago they come up with a statement and they said something, a pack of lies, and you hadn't the wherewithal, you hadn't the resources to respond to them, right? You couldn't respond because they're controlling the media. But now we can come on program like these and Speaking Out and other programs and give people the facts and rebut them immediately. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait. From the time they come with a statement, you can come and you can let people. And we have sensible, educated people Once they hear the two sides of the story, they know who to believe and who not to believe. So again, thank you, Doc, for this opportunity.
And thank you, Mr. Slowe, for coming through. We shall keep in touch. And thank you, the audience. Thank you, the audience tonight. I mean, you've got it here. And sometimes, it's good to hear the story over and over. I mean, as I said, they say that Bharti Ramcharan is lying. There are no shades of autocracy. Well, you heard it here tonight from Paul Slowe. It's more than shades of autocracy. This is autocracy in full flight. We continue to struggle. We continue to organize. We continue to mobilize because 2 morning more. 2 morning more. I'll see you all tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Politics 101.